Hi, welcome back to Raunchy Reality Recaps. We're going over Lindsey and Blaine from last week and then get you into this week as well. So it's kind of like a double feature matinee. So last week, apparently, Lindsey was still upset about Blaine not wanting to do anything about the $15,000 he needed in order to get out of these issues. Now, as we know before, Blaine already figured out everything, or at least his attorney did. His attorney let him know that he can go on house arrest and he doesn't have to go to jail for 19 years. So he's still playing it off and going to get the ankle monitor just to surprise Lindsey, because yeah, a surprise of you not having to do 19 years is great when she had to sit here and worry about it for weeks when she shouldn't have. So anyways, yeah, that was Blaine's great surprise. So Lindsey tells him, we need to do something. I got people that owe me money, so I'm going to get on that. So she calls this one girl, and I will give it to Lindsey. She is a great, she's a great business person, because instead of going out and having to deal with all these people and call them herself and get money, she finds a girl that owes her like a lot of money, and then she calls her up, and then she gets that girl to go and find the other money other people owe her, so that girl doesn't have to pay Lindsey back directly. So yeah, I think I thought Lindsey was pretty smart about that. And dang, Lindsey was either fronting some of these people or bailing them out of jail, which either way, I mean, she was bailing me out of jail. That's a pretty good friend of my eyes, you know? So Lindsey calls that girl, gets that girl to start contacting people for her, trying to get some money together. All while Blaine's like, I wish Lindsey would understand I can handle this myself. Okay, first of all, Blaine, you did not handle it. I mean, you know, you made a phone call to your lawyer and everything, and you talked to him, but your attorney handled it for you. Your attorney figured it out for you, okay? You didn't do anything besides talk to your attorney, and your attorney figured out for you. So I will give you that. At least you took the initiative to get an attorney and talk to an attorney. At least that. But yeah, your attorney did the groundwork. So Lindsey and Blaine apparently having Blaine's dad come over. Now, when Blaine's dad's come over, he's smitten on Lindsey. He's like, y'all need to get married. Y'all gonna plan on getting married. And that's when Lindsey's like, she's like, I wasn't thinking about that. You know, we're thinking about the 19 years this guy's supposedly supposed to be doing. So they end up talking for a minute, and Lindsey tells, or I guess they tell Blaine's dad how they met. And apparently Lindsey, when she was dealing, her friend told her to go to Blaine, so he needed some stuff, but apparently I think that friend told Blaine that Lindsey needed something. So Blaine goes out there to sell Lindsey something, and Lindsey just starts opening up all these containers with money and all that substance stuff. And that's how apparently they hit it off. Yeah, that's quite a love story right there. So Lindsey asked Blaine's dad, like, when he started getting in trouble, and that's when he said, around 16 years old. And Blaine was like, well, why, we ain't here to talk about me. We're here to, talk about her, or, you get to know her. And that's when his dad called Blaine out. But, like, I think why I'm here is because she doesn't know you. So, yeah, Blaine's daddy called him right out on that. So, Lindsey ends up leaving because she has to go to the mall with her daughter, Miley. Now, that's after she left. That's when, Blaine starts explaining how, his situation with how many years and how his attorney got it down to probation or house arrest, and how he's going to surprise Lindsey. And of course, like everybody else, he tells Blaine that it's not a good idea. But of course, he's not going to listen because Blaine. And so the next scene, we see Lindsey. She's at the mall with Miley, having the most uncomfortable conversations. And they're buying a pretty ring, and that's when Lindsey starts asking her daughter about, if she's got a boyfriend. And apparently, Lindsey's daughter's a very athletic girl, and she's so beautiful as well. That little girl was so little a couple years ago, and she turned into a beautiful young woman, I will say that. But, and she's apparently a great athlete. She apparently does it all year round. She different sports. So that's great to hear. I'm glad Lindsey's mom got her and all that, and, you know, got her on a different track than her daughter went down, you know. So that's when Lindsey starts having the awkward conversation of how when she was apparently 14 years old when she had Miley, and that's just sad, so sad that she was that young when she gave birth to a child. And it's just sad in any situation like that. And I really felt bad for Lindsey, and it really explains a lot as far as Lindsey's, you know, just situation she's coming from and everything. But she explains that she lost her virginity to Miley's dad, which, why are you talking to your dad? Or why? Not only are you explaining to your daughter that, which is embarrassing in itself, you're doing it in the mall, which is embarrassing, and on national television, which is super embarrassing. Why do they put these kids in these situations? Like, I don't get it. Like, that girl has to be so open, because if I explain I can literally ask my daughter if she needs, I will say, lady products, and she gets embarrassed. Like, I'm like, do you need any lady products? You know, just make sure she's safe, she good, you know, as far as, you know, her monthly, and she will act like I am embarrassing, and there could be nobody around. There literally could be nobody around, and she will act like I'm embarrassing her. So I have no idea how this girl is having this conversation. You could tell she was embarrassed a couple times, but oh God, my kid would be like, no, I'm not. You're never putting that on air. So yeah, I don't know how they got to do that conversation with that girl. But anyways, that's when Lindsey starts explaining to her daughter about how Blaine might have 19 years and how she's worried about that, because now she, you know, wants to get a home and a family and everything. So she was kind of iffy about that, you know, if he's going to or not, which we know he's not. But of course, Blaine doesn't want to tell her. He wants to surprise her. So that's the end of the conversation with her daughter. And then you see Blaine going with his dad to the parole officer to get the ankle monitor, and that's where it ends at the last episode. Now in this episode, so we cut to Blaine and Lindsey, and they're in their house. Which, what happened to the trailer they were fixing up? Like, I thought they were fixing up a trailer for, you know, Lindsey to be able to have a place with her daughter and everything, and she spent all her money on it and everything like that. Like, so is this their house now, or are they just renting this, or is it a family member they're staying with? I'm kind of confused, need clarification. If anybody knows what's going on, please comment below, or if I missed something. You know, I get the episodes off the internet, so I might be missing something here and there. So please let me know on that. So they get to talking, and Lindsey explains to him how they were in the store. She was in the store with Miley and having the birds and the bee talk. And Blaine, of course, is like, and that's embarrassing. And like, yeah, that's the smartest thing that came out of your mouth, boy. Yeah, you get it. It's embarrassing. So that's when Lindsey starts asking him, like, well, what was your daddy talking about with this marriage thing? And Blaine explains to Lindsey that, you know, his dad knows that he's been talking about Lindsey to his dad for years, and, you know, he could see himself with Lindsey and everything. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure if Blaine could, he would. Okay? Lindsey, on the other hand, is like, this boy's about to do 19 years. Why would I mean, I can't sit here and think about marriage with him right now when I got to think about if he's going to actually be around for me to marry. So that's when they go in the bedroom, and, you know, Lindsey's like, take a shower with me. And we all remember that he can't take a shower, at least not without a Ziploc bag on that device, and telling Lindsey about it. So he plays it off like, oh, I want to, you know, go out on a four-wheeler or whatever he wanted to do outside. And so she, you know, she kind of throws him on the bed and everything like that. And Blaine's talking about how he needs some wind therapy, I guess, with his ATVs. And she's like, yeah, I'll give you some therapy, all right. And so she starts making out with him, taking off her top. And what I really want to know is, like, because we see in these, especially Love After Lockup episodes, where once they get out, you see, like, the intimate scenes, them taking their clothes off and everything. And I want to know, do they pay more for those scenes? Like, you know, if you let us, you know, kind of capture your pre-bedroom moments, we'll give you, you know, extra $1,000 or something. Because I heard, like, if you know the 1,000 Pound Life, they will pay more for a shower scene. the people exposing their whole body, they'll literally pay you more for it. So I wonder if that's the same thing going on with WeTV and, Life After Lockup, Love After Lockup. If they, tell them either, we'll pay you more or you get better ratings or whatever. So I always wondered that. But anyways, she starts pulling off his pants and he's like, oh, wait a second, that's as far as you need to go. Like, come on, man. So she rips off his pants some more, and that's when she's like, what is this? What is this? She gets upset. Like, she's pretty mad. Like, what the heck? So it's crazy. So in the next scene, so Lindsey ends up getting mad, storming off, or before she storms off, she's like, what is that? You just don't come home with an ankle monitor. And he says, you should be happy, Lindsey. I don't want going to jail or prison. So, yeah, that's how he came off about it. I guess he was regretting holding that secret in and surprising her at that point. So she storms off into the kitchen and she's like, why wouldn't you tell me? I'm your girlfriend. Why wouldn't you it's a life decision. Why wouldn't you keep me? He's like, well, if I didn't make decisions, then I wouldn't be free anyways, or some crap like that. So that's when he basically tells her that, he was on the phone and his friend was there. She was like, your friend knew. Daniel, I think it was. Daniel knew. She was like, well, who else? And Blaine's like, well, my dad. And she was like, what? So there's a list? Well, yeah, like the attorney and the I guess, the authorities, or everybody in the government system knew, and a whole bunch of other people besides Lindsey. Lindsey was mad. She throws the cup of water that she had on him, and he's like, you're being over dramatic. It's funny. He still sounds like a really slow boomhauer. I mean, he does. He sounds like a really slow boomhauer off of King of the Hill. So she ends up getting mad, throwing it in his face. And she's like, did you even think how that would affect my parole or probation? Or no, she has parole, yeah. And he's like, well, what do you mean? You got to prove for me? I got to prove for you. And she's like, no, I got to prove for my boyfriend with facing charges, not an inmate. So, yeah, she's now going to have to find out if it's okay for her to live with him. Since now, instead of just facing charges, he is now basically an inmate on probation, or, no, house arrest. He's an inmate on house arrest. So he's still considered technically an inmate. She's worried about that, and he didn't even think about that, which, Blaine, if you weren't so happy and so gung-ho about surprising her, you could have told her this. She would have let you know it's not, that's not right, or she could have figured it out with her probation, parole officer before you went ahead and took the deal, So, yeah, again, this is what happens when you keep secrets. So she goes into a room, slams the door in his face. So Blaine's wondering why she's so mad. He goes in there and asks her, and she explains to him, this just means the house is a prison. When she was on probation, she couldn't go past her mailbox. She had to stay within her property lines, and a lot of stuff that they do now that they can't do because he's on house arrest. And he tells her his house arrest ain't like hers. He can do everything he pleases. He just has to be home by a certain time and everything, and he can't leave the state. So, yeah, he's still not getting it. And she explained to him again, his house arrest affects her parole, so she's still upset about it. So again, Lindsey explains to him that him being on house arrest no longer means that her approval of being with a felon was okay, or him facing charges was okay, because she had to get that approved by her parole officer, and that was a feat in itself. But not only does she's not calling her parole officer to let him know what might happen as far as she living with a inmate now, but she's calling to tell him that she already is. So that already means she's doing wrong in her parole officer's eyes and could look bad on her. So, I mean, Lindsey gets this. I mean, I'll give that to Lindsey. Lindsey is smart about the system. She's knowledgeable. She understands what's going on. She understands what can get her in trouble. And she's trying to stay out of it. She wants to stay out of it. She wants to be there for her daughter. So I will give Lindsey that. She's smart when it comes to that stuff. And Blaine's just... he can't get it through his thick head about what's actually going on. And again, she explains to him that he made all these decisions and they're supposed to be in a relationship, and he basically took her voice away from her. So she's still mad. She's still upset. Blaine's like, he's like, I thought this would have been a great surprise. Even though everybody told me it wasn't, I thought it would have been great, but now I guess I'm wrong. So yeah, we see Blaine finally get into his head that, hey dude, it wasn't great. It wasn't. Like, no, don't ever do that again. And then Lindsey is basically saying to the confessional that it's lie after lie after lie with him. So yeah, this is definitely going to go somewhere in here. I mean, so we have to find out what's going on with Lindsey and her parole officer. Hopefully we'll see that as well. Hopefully it works out for her, So that's the end of this video. We'll see you for the next video. I'll be dropping several different Life After Lockup videos. Now, what I'm doing, I think I'm going to do is on Thursday and Friday nights, like Friday right before the new season or the new episode releases around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to start dropping videos on Thursdays and Fridays. So that way, it takes me a while as far as watching them, and then I also want to start putting in clips as well and making them a little bit better. So it's going to take me a few days because I'm not really able to do anything on the weekends. So it takes me a few days to do it. So I think I'm going to start dropping them on Thursday and Fridays at like 5 p.m. That way you can watch them, get kind of recapped before you watch the next episode as well. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for your subscriptions, getting me to all these viewers. Y'all are great. I love every one of y'all, and y'all have a great day and enjoy everything. Bye.